comment this afternoon, and they said this in response: "We're disturbed and appalled by the vision that depicts verbal abuse and harassment on campus. Such conduct is utterly unacceptable, and we're taking immediate action under our codes of conduct, including suspending a staff member involved, pending further assessment." So that woman hurling the abuse was a University of Sydney academic, now suspended. The Executive Council of Australian Juries Head of Legal, Simone Abel, joins me now. Simone, thank you for your time. You've now reported this to New South Wales Police. I want to ask you, what's your reaction to seeing those sort of scenes?
Sharri, it's always horrific. Unfortunately, we see these scenes so frequently and have seen them over the course of the last 2 years. You know, the intensity of it, the violence in the words and the behaviour. And it's got to the point now where, as shocking as it is, it's become almost normal. Just the other day, I was at the University of Sydney and I walked around the campus. I saw Taliban flags next to Palestinian flags, and, you know, it's hard to escape this kind of environment of escalating terror and abuse. It's very threatening to Jewish people.
Yeah, it's just awful to see, and we hope the New South Wales Police investigate, and good to see that University has taken some action this afternoon. Now, I also want to ask you about the court's decision today, the Supreme Court, on banning the protests at the Opera House. Now, that was, of course, very welcome. I was surprised to see the judgment focus on physical safety. What did the Jewish community in their submission argue to the court?
So, actually, I think we're really pleased with the way that the court approached this, because it should have been always a focus on public safety. That is of paramount concern, and I think, you know, one of the things that we've seen that's fallen by the wayside over the last couple of years with these many hundreds of protests has actually been a prioritisation of public safety. And as the Executive Council of Australian Jury, together with the New South Wales Jewish Board of Deputies, we both submitted an affidavit in which we argued that the location and the timing of the protest were problematic. So, of course, we're not opposed to protests. They're part and parcel of living in a democracy. But on this occasion, the timing being the second anniversary of the largest scale massacre of Jewish people since the Holocaust was utterly insensitive and inappropriate. And then also, of course, the location, the scene of the crime 2 years ago. You know, we've all seen the horrific footage where protesters lit flares, burnt the Israeli flag, shouted, "Where's the Jews? F the Jews." It was horrific, and it caused our community a lot of trauma, and it happened at the Opera House. And it happened at the Opera House because that is a national icon, and we just felt that we could not have a repeat of the events on the October the 9th 2 years ago.
Look, as a lawyer, as head of legal at one of the peak Jewish groups, you've been trying to navigate these sort of areas. Do you think we need new laws to deal with the level of hatred and the support for terrorism on our streets?
I think really what's happened over the last 2 years has been quite unprecedented. I mean, we've seen anti-Semitic incidents rocket in a way that they never previously have before. So my organisation, the Executive Council of Australian Jury, has been recording anti-Semitic incidents now for 35 years and providing reports to government and other stakeholders. We've seen an increase from October to December of 2023 after, you know, the attacks in southern Israel by a terrorist organisation, Hamas. We had a 738% increase in anti-Semitic incidents over the 2-month period. And then following that, we had over 300% increase in the reporting period for that year. And I think, you know, what that speaks to is that we're in a, you know, uncharted territory here in terms of what's happening on our streets, and we need to address that. Now, we have laws, of course, but we need those laws to be enforced, and we also need some additional protection. So, for example, the piece of legislation, the Summary Offences Act, that was, you know, which the case was brought under today, I think what we would like to see is we would like to see that piece of legislation slightly tweaked, because basically at the moment you have a situation where if protest groups decide not to seek the permission of the Commissioner of Police for their public assembly, then, you know, the police are a little bit powerless to restrain that, and we would like to see the police in a position where if they get notice of a protest that they think is going to contravene the law in some way, they should have the ability to actually prevent that and apply to the court for a prohibition order.
So sensible and important. All right, Simone, Abel, thank you so much, and congratulations on, well, you're on the New South Wales Police win today. All right, still to come, Israeli businessman Eyal Waldman joins us 2 years after his daughter was murdered at the Nova Music Festival. And Nine cancels Justin Hem's brilliant restaurants from its Good Food Guide. Cameron Milner and Matt Canavan are up next.
This program is brought to you by Harvey Norman. Shop in store and online. Best